Now, using a Dremel doesn't take no time to shine up the plates. You can see this is mirror finish. I couldn't get in there too well, not with the pad that I have on my Dremel. And this, already got this side done. I'm doing the inside plate. You can see this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like after. Now, all you have to do is barely put any of this mothers on your pad. Turn the Dremel on and just rub it around until you get the shininess that you want. It's going to turn black at first. And you can see it's black, but you keep it on there and it'll turn nice and shiny. And you don't need that much mothers. When I first started using mothers, I was using way too much. And my friend told me I was using way too much. And mothers is cheap. It's like $6 for that container at Walmart or your auto parts store. Anyway, I'm going to continue. You see the difference? You got a mirror-like shine now. And my friend, he doesn't have an ultrasonic cleaner. He shines up every bit of the parts with mothers. It looked brand new when he's all done and his clock's run, and it'll run for several years because he made all the parts look brand new. And afterwards, you got to peg the holes because if you don't, that mother is going to stop your clock. And so make sure you take a piece of toothpick or bamboo or screw or whatever and peg out all the holes until your toothpick comes back clean or until you're satisfied that they're clean. And I would suggest pegging both this side and then flipping it over and pegging out the other side. Because your toothpick or bamboo or screw or whatever you're using is tapered. To make sure that the holes are nice and clean. You have not seen a prettier movement from me than this one. I got the movement polished. I got all the frickin' parts polished using mothers. And if this clock does not work after me taking the time to do all this, I'll never do another one like this again. I even took a smooth cutting broach to all the pivot holes and polished up the pivots. So now it's time to put it back together. Now to put this thing back together, I got the time side great wheel on. I got the strike size second wheel with this cam in the 12 and 3 o'clock position. And I told you that the strike side great wheel wouldn't come off because I couldn't get the pin out of that hole for the pinion gear. So I'm going to slide it all in and keeping my fingers crossed that I'm able to put it where I want it. Got a lot going on for it that has to be in specific places. So I'm going to grab the nuts and I'm going to start the nuts. You can also use rubber bands. You don't want the crank on the nuts. You just want the movement to be held in place so you can put other parts on. Now this lever that is connected to this lever right here, it's got a wire that goes around the second wheel cam. I'll put it in its hole. The gong in its hole. And starting the other two nuts just to keep parts in place. The second wheel is not in its position yet. And I got to put my eyes on so I can see. Great wheel's in its place. The second wheel's not in its place. But that's not what's putting pressure on this movement. Something else is. There we go. I'm not going to tighten these nuts down. I just want to put them on the post so I could discuss something else. The second wheel cam is still in the 12 and 3 o'clock position, but the hammer, I told you it needs to be barely off one of the 8-point star wheels, and it's not. And when I rotate it to where it is, now the second wheel cam is in the 9 and 12 o'clock position. So I got to fix that. I want the hammer position to be exactly where it's at, but I got to fix the second wheel. So I got to move it away from the great wheel to fix it. It sucks to get blind and can't see anymore. So that is where I want it. The hammer tab is barely off the 8-point star wheel. The second wheel cam is in the 12 and 3 o'clock position. So the next step is to put this lever right here, that this section right here goes into that second wheel cam. So I got to put that on, and I'm going to do that off camera. And before I attempt to put any of that stuff on, because I got the second wheel strike side and the strike side great wheel in the right place, I'm going to use HECO to hold everything together. I'm just going to shove this HECO all throughout that movement to hold everything in position. As you can see, the hammer tab is still just a little bit away from the 8-point star wheel. The lever that goes into the cam of the second wheel is in the second wheel cam, and the second wheel cam is at the 12 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position. So now I got to put the third wheel with warning pin, and the pin, when it's done cuckooing, hits right here on the end of this thing. So again, I'm going to use HECO to hold everything in place and spread the plate apart just enough to put the third wheel warning pin in so it hits right here. And I'm going to do that off camera. As you can see, the tab for the gong is away from the 8-point star wheel. The third wheel warning pin is hitting the end of that lever that falls into the count wheel. However, the cam is now at the 11 and 2 o'clock position. It probably work, but I want it exactly like the 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. So currently my third wheel warning pin is in the wrong spot. So I need to put it so it's down here. Now, the hammer tab is barely away from the 8-point star wheel. The third wheel warning pin is hitting the end of this black lever that goes into the second wheel cam, and the cam is at the 12 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position. So the strike side is set up, other than I have to redo this spring that helps bring the lever into the count wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and put some HECO on this stuff because I have to loosen the plate to put the time side on. And I wouldn't have had to do all this stuff if I could have got this pinion gear off this second wheel. Sorry, off the great wheel. I could have put it all together without doing it the way I'm doing it. I put the spring back on this lever right here. It goes on the other side of the movement on this post. Doing a function test. It cuckoos one time and it stops like it's supposed to. I still have to mess with the bird post. I had to bend this wire out of the way to put the movement in. So now I need to bend it back down where it belongs. So doing a function test. Bird goes out, comes back in. Bird goes out, comes back in. It cuckoos one time. Now I need to oil up the movement and then put all the other parts on. Currently testing it just to see if the clutch system for the hands is working. I want to make sure the hand is rotating. Which I shut the camera off too fast, but you're going to see it cuckoo one time here shortly. Which tells me the hands are rotating. So the clutch system is working fine. See if I can speed things up. There we go. I didn't touch it. Let's try it again. The hands are rotating. I've been working on this clock for like 3 days now. Not all day, but this wheel here is the one that's got the screw on it. That goes on this post. These two wheels here go on these posts. But you can see that they do not match up with that gear. It's like this gear is too big. Even though it turns, you would think that they would match up. Just like this gear matches up with these. This wheel matches up with these wheel teeth. You would think that this wheel would match up with this wheel's teeth, but it doesn't. And when you put this one on, same thing. They don't match up. The shaft that this fits on is not bent. It's in the right spot. There's no bushing wear on it. And I was tripping the clock and looking from the side, and you can see that shaft is not bent. I want to make it turn. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's not bent. If it was bent, I would understand, but it's not bent. So I don't know what's going on with this clock. There's another hole here that this could go in, but that would bring it closer to these wheels, so it doesn't go in that hole. It goes in the hole where it's at. So I don't know what's going on. Doesn't make sense, so I'm going to have to study it. Now this is the clock that recently sold on eBay. This is the movement, and you can see that this wheel matches up with these two wheels. And this is a picture of my video that I took of this clock. Sorry, this is a picture of my movement. And you can see that this wheel matches up with these two wheels. Why it's not matching up now, I have no freaking idea. And for the folks who thinking I have it in the wrong hole, this is my video of me working on this movement. And you will see in this video that I have it, the main shaft, in the right hole. Let me back it up some. There you see the bottom hole I was talking about, but I have this shaft in the right hole. So why it's not matching up now, I have no idea. After I just showed you that picture, I figured it out. I loosen up these screws. This slides up and down, and that would cause it not to match up. Now, I showed you in the Carl Kochman's book that this regular one movement, without all this crap on it, takes 420 grams of weight. I tried 420 grams of weight, doesn't work. It takes about a 550 gram weight in order for it to work. And that's understandable because of all these, they added this bottom attachment for the people to move. And it's 5 extra gears. So it does work. Once I add the bellows and stuff to it, it might have to be heavier weights. There's no bushing wear. The movement looks new because I polished it all up. Smooth cutting broaches on the pivot holes, polished up the pivots. Again, this clock didn't have weights with it. And I don't know whether that clock on eBay works or not. This movement here is brand new to me. Well, this setup. I can't ask Michael Anderson, just Mike, because his is a totally different setup than this. So I got the bellows repaired on this clock, and I was fixing to put the movement back in, but these posts don't line up correctly with the holes. And let me get my caliper out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is that far up. Let me zero this thing out, sorry. From the top of the post with the clock sitting on the movement, it's 19.14. But over here, on this side, it is 15. In other words, this one is sitting lower than this one. So I have to loosen up these screws to get them both to set the same height. That way they fit in the holes correctly on the case. Still working on this clock. First of all, there's a big slot, a deep slot, and a shallow slot. The deep slot goes onto that wire. And so on the half hour, they're going to turn away from each other. And then on the hour, when it's done cuckooing, they should face each other. That was the half hour. Here comes the hour. I got it backwards. Here comes the hour. So let me show you something else. Now this is clockhistory.com. There's a database in this webpage, and if you go to HECO, and you have to read the very first page. And the very first page says there are sales agents for USA of the famous Johans clocks, manufacturer and importer of HECO clocks. But they were basically sales agents, Henry Collar Company and Corporation out of New York. Now, the next page says they use rack and snail movements. Now, this is a regular 20, and this is a 1950s catalog, all right? And so I'm going to take you to the next page. I think it's on the next page. Sorry, maybe it's the next page. Well, darn it. Maybe it's the third page. I know it's in here. Stand by. Let me find it. There's the fourth page. You will see this musical cuckoo clock with this man and this woman on this page. And there is a close-up version of it. Now, Michael Anderson, just Mike, I told you that he has 3 of these clocks, and one of them is a rack and snail clock. And I'm going to have to look at that video again, but it's very well, it has a regular 20 movement in it. And so it'd been made in the 1950s. Unfortunately, again, mine is not a musical cuckoo clock. And if you look at these gears, this gear here on the woman, the one that comes out of the clock, is further away from this gear here on the man. It's closer to the front of the movement. And when I trip this, you're going to see that the man turns really smooth, but the woman doesn't. I wish I'd went out and purchased a different phone stand. As you can see, she's not turning right. So I need to, bottom line is I need to bring this gear that sticks to the post that comes off the movement closer to the left. Like I said, the gear coming off the movement needs to go further on the left, so it basically sits on top of this other gear. But no matter what I've done, I haven't been able to successfully do that. And I measured them both height. They're both 10.1 millimeters in height. And looking at them from the side, I think I'm going to take a file or a grinder and make this flat. That way this one sits down further, and that way this one can sit on top of it. Because the ratio of the guy, he turns fine, but the ratio of the girl, she's skipping teeth, so she's not turning as well. And you need to select a stone that when you put this thing on here, it's flat. But as you can see, there's a hump in the middle of this stone, so I can't put it on there flat. And if you look at the people, this guy is mounted perfectly on this brass piece. And he spans perfectly. All right. However, she has been repaired and she's not mounted perfectly on this brass piece. However, if I was to take this off and make the green match up with the brass, should be tilted backwards. So I was talking to Michael Anderson, just Mike, is his YouTube channel, and he believes there's a wire that comes up through these people. But I'm not gonna take her off, but she'll just have to do. And I will admit that in the process of trying to line these gears up, one of the screws came up missing. So once I put that rear screw in, I was able to get the gear that attached to the movement closer to where it needed to be. And so I'm trying to get this to so y'all can see it with my broken phone stand. I got the people facing forward. You could make the people face toward each other, but because the HECO clock that I showed you, the people are facing forward, I made them face forward. If you want to make them face each other, they'd be more of a loving couple if they were facing each other. And so you could do with your clock whatever you want to do with your clock. Now it's time to put the bellows in. On the bench, 520 gram weights operated this thing. But I told you, once you put the gears and the bellows and everything else, it's probably going to take more weight. I'm not doing a bucket test. I put 750 gram weights on. Doesn't work. These are 1,250 gram weights on. And it works perfect. Should have had those weights on it. Again, I don't believe so. However, with all these gears and everything else involved, you do what you got to do, I guess. You have to love cuckoo clocks to work on them. Function test was perfect. Put the movement and the bellows in. It worked perfect for 12 rounds. And then it quit working. As you can see, when I pull on the chain weight for the strike side, this doesn't want to move. So I have to take the movement back out to figure out what is wrong with it. Again, you have to love cuckoo clocks to do this. This time I'm not taking the people off. I'm just loosening these gears attached to the post of the movement, and the movement will come out. But with those gears loosened, when I pull on the chain, nothing happens. So I'm thinking the lever that goes over the second wheel, that the third wheel warning pin hits when it goes into warning, I think it might be up too high and it's stopping it. And always remove the pendulum leader wire, which is a straight wire here. That way, when you take the movement out, you don't bend it. Plus, I had to put a longer pendulum leader wire because the original pendulum leader wire pendulum catch was inside the case. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but as my suspicions was correct, this lever that comes off the pins of the minute arbor, the center wheel, is attached to this post. This post has a wire that is attached to it that goes over the second wheel and it has a hump and a loop. When the clock goes into warning, the third wheel warning pin hits that hump. But hopefully you can see what I'm about to show you. The third wheel warning pin is hitting that hump. So, it went down that time. I think the issue is this lever here is not dropping as it should, because now it's dropping as it should. It might be the fact that this spring wire that brings the bird back in, see, I'm doing the tilt test, and that spring wire is not functioning as it should. Sometimes it brings the bird back up, and then at other times it gets stuck. So I need to tighten up the spring wire a little bit more, and that should resolve the issue. The third wheel warning pin is hitting the lever that goes over the second wheel. It's a wire, and it's barely hitting it. So I'm going to see if I could get this camera to focus in so you can see it. The wire is right in this position right here, and when I turn the great wheel, you should see that wire hit that third wheel with warning pin. Right there, you should see it. So that means I got to bend that wire down just a little bit so it clears the third wheel with warning pin. However, if you bend it down too much, the clock will cuckoo when it's in warning. So don't bend it down too much. I took the count wheel off so you can see it better. There's a third wheel warning pin, and there's that wire. And when I rotate the wheel, you will see, or you should be able to see, that pin is hitting that hump of that wire. So, like I said, I got to bend the wire down just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a pair of wire benders, and hopefully I can do it with the count wheel off. So now it's functioning properly. If you make any adjustments to the inside, it might make adjustments to this lever right here. And I can see right now that this lever that trips off the pins, it's too far forward, so I need to push it back just a little bit. Anyway, hope that helps. Now I need to put the movement back in the clock. And for the people who still don't understand, I have a video where I took a plexiglass and made it into the movement, and I explain what I just told you so you can understand it better. Search for that video. If you bend that inside wire too much, when this lever here is tripped by the 2 pins. If you bend it down too much, sorry, if you bend it the wrong way, that wire lifts a piece that comes off of this lever right here. So if it's not bent right, it won't push this lever up enough and your clock won't cuckoo. And if you bend it too much, the third wheel warning pin will hit it. If you don't bend it enough, the third wheel warning pin will bypass it when the clock goes into warning. I got this adjusted just right now, so it's time to put it back in the case. And even though I did a function test by hand, I'm doing a function test with the weights. The weights should drop evenly without the pendulum on it within a half hour or so. It should drop all the way to the floor, and then I'll wind it up one more time. That way it goes through all the numbers. I can't stress to do these function tests. Even though you do function tests and you put it all back together and something is screwed up, you still want to do a function test. Like in this case, I don't have any cuckoo on it, so the weights drop too fast, and so I need to put lighter weights. And a lot of the old clock repair folks, they will put heavier weights without the pendulum on it to let the oil disseminate where the oil needs to be. And hopefully when this is all said and done with, I could use lighter weights. It's been probably 30 minutes, and as you can see, the weights are almost to the floor. I'm going to wind it back up and make sure that they continue to drop evenly. So I went out today and I bought, yesterday on my birthday, as my daughter took me out for my birthday, and I bought this tripod as my other one. As I said, it broke, and this doesn't want to stay where you put it. The tripod comes with this adjustable tripod, and then you put these other components on. The instructions suck because it doesn't show you where this goes. I think it's for when you do this. I think. But I'm not going to do that, so this is what I need right here. My phone, because I bought a case, barely fits in this. Plus, this wobbles. And I pay decent money for this thing. When it's all said and when it's all down, you see how much that wobbles? It shouldn't freaking wobble like that. You loosen this, and then you can tighten it, but it still wobbles. Of course, I went to Walmart, and that was the closest one I could find. Not for sure what that screw-on point is. I think I could change it around. Instead of having this screwed into there, I screw it into there, and that's what I'm going to do. So now it's screwed in from the side here, and when you tighten this all up, it shouldn't wobble as much. It will wobble, but you get what you pay for. Comes with this charging cord. You could do a remote control. I never use those things. But now it's time for me to work on clocks. Like I said, this thing has been running. The weights hit the floor, so now it's time to put the movement back in the case. I'm almost certain that they probably put this fence on last because trying to get to those gears is a pain in the butt. But it can be done. And I don't want to take that fence off. You have to take the gear that the people sit on off in order to put this gear on. Now, I tried 630 gram weights, don't work. The people are turning a little bit fast. The weight I have on it might be a little bit too heavy, but once I add the bellows, that should slow them down. I've got way too much stuff on my desk going on. Editing the video or my computer would be down off my desk. But anyway, I got a lot of stuff going on. And I tried lighter weights and it wouldn't work. And it's working just fine with the weights that I have on it. I said it was working just fine. I think this lady, being the way she is, I think it's jacking everything up. I think the people, the gear that's on the people, I think with her, it's touching the bottom frame. It's causing resistance. So I got a piece of cardboard that I cut that I'm going to stick underneath that gear to lift it up off that metal bracket. And you should be able to see this piece of cardboard right here is underneath that piece, and I tightened up the screws. So now there's a little bit of clearance between that bottom gear and that metal bracket. But with that clearance that I gave it, I guess the gear that comes off the movement and the gear that comes off the people is not matching up properly, as it's not turning. It is when I rotate her. So I gotta adjust that some more. I loosen the gear that's on the movement for the lady just to see what happens. You know, I never did add oil to this after I took it all back apart and put it back together. So I think I'm going to add some oil. I loosened up the gears on the front where the people would stand on those posts, and it was still sticking. So I put some oil in every one of these gears. And it seems to be doing good. But once I hook up the front gears, will it still be doing good? Now these are 1040 gram weights, and they're not heavy enough. And these are 1250 gram weights. I don't know what that noise is. I hear it as she's spinning around. I'm not for sure what that is. If you push the lever that trips the clock, it'll continue cuckooing and doing its thing. You don't have to keep on pushing it. You hear that noise? It's not her. She's not hitting this post. And I'm going to show you that. There is clearance in this and her, I think. I got my camera on its tripod. I got to push this at the same time. I got to pull this out to make sure she's not hitting that. She's not hitting it. I don't know what that freaking noise is. Unless it's that bottom gear hitting that frame. That's the only thing I can picture. I think I need some 1100 gram weights on this. And again, there's no pivot wear in this thing. I think with her being damaged and re-glued, that's part of the issue. But it is working. And I said the movement did not have any bushing wear. These gears could have bushing wear, as you can see when I move them back and forth or rocking back and forth. And that could be the issue. But honestly, I don't know. It is 3 o'clock in the morning here. The clock is still ticking away. It's still cuckooing. It's doing all of its thing. I'm going to let it run tonight. Then I'll put the dial on and all that tomorrow. Again, it takes heavier weights than what I would expect, but I'm not going to put bushings. The movement doesn't need bushings. The wheels that move the people, they might need bushings, and it might be a waste of my time putting bushings in them. If the outside wire that you open that door and push to hit the inside wire, if it's too close, it takes a heavier weight. I got 620 gram, 630 gram weights on it right now. A 420 gram weight starts to make a cuckoo. It might spin around a little bit. I might have to adjust the wire a little bit more, but it's getting there. So a link broke on me while I was putting the weights on, and I just happened to have the clock held by this guy, and he came unglued. It just, sometimes it just sucks to work on clocks. So now I got to fix him. So it's been a while since I worked on this clock. As you can see, the Shots 1,000-day clock is still working. I'm still adjusting the pendulum because during the video, I was showing you how the pendulum worked, and I unscrewed it several times to show you that the balls come out to slow it down. So anyway, I'm still working on that. But anyway, I want to get back to working on this clock. I got to take the movement back out to fix it. And the reason I say I have to take the movement out, in most count wheel clocks, the bird post spring is what brings the outside lever that you push to make this lever. I got the count wheel off, but it's to make that lever go into the count wheel. But if you put the outside wire too close to the inside wire, then you got to use more pressure to trip the cuckoo. But in this case, I told you that this lever has a spring on it, and currently that spring is too loose, and so it doesn't always stop cuckooing, and so I got to take the movement back out to tighten up that spring. And like I said, with every other count wheel cuckoo clock, the spring that brings the cuckoo back in, it serves two functions, but maybe this outside wire is bent wrong, but I need to take the movement back out to figure it out. And again, this is why it should only cuckoo one time. If I stand it up in the air and barely put any weight on it, it cuckoos one time, but it should work better than what it is. So I got the movement out, and when I turn the hands, the lever that comes off the two pins, this black lever here, it's not lifting high enough. If I was to push it, it cuckoos, but it's supposed to be able to come off the two pins, not, well, in this case, it's like a hurricane symbol, but it's not lifting high enough. So I got to figure that out. This is a lever that I'm talking about, and there's too much in shake in it. It only lifts that bar to start with, but it's not moving the lever that you should be able to see the wire in there that it lifts up. And that wire is when it lifts up this lever here out of the count wheel. And it's also the wire that goes around the second wheel to catch the pin when it goes into warning. The third wheel with warning pin, it's designed to catch that pin also. And so I have to figure out how to tighten this up. It's got too much in shake. So some adjustments on this black bar. And now it cuckoos. with the hands. But because I took all that stuff off, I now have it on my stand, a weight on, and I want to see whether or not the minute hand is going to move to function the clock. I don't have the pendulum on, so it should work pretty fast. You always have to do these function tests afterwards, because if you messed up the clutch system, which is that typically a 2 or 3 prong compression washer underneath this intermediate wheel, the hands aren't going to move. And if I am steady enough here, you should be able to see that hand moving. You always want to do function tests afterwards. Even though I did all the function tests, put it in the case, and something went wrong, it's just why they call them cuckoo clocks. They will make you go cuckoo. And I just had a birthday last month and turned 27 again. It's really hard to get motivated. So I went to the dollar store and got me some of these. It's, when you live by yourself, it's hard to get motivated. And for the people who complain because you have to do honey-do lists for your wife or your spouse, I would give everything up that I own just to be married to my ex-wife again. Don't complain. Things could be a lot worse. Trust me. There's advantages of being single, but I'd much rather be married to my wife. So now I put the count wheel back on and allowing it to do its thing. Again, you do these function tests and you hope and pray that everything works right when you get it back into the case. So I want to put the movement back in, but using the original screw holes, and I've adjusted this plate every which way I can, but using the original screw holes, you will notice that I took the base off too. I think that's how they originally put this clock together, was without this front part on. But using the original screw holes, one of these is dead center, and then the other one is up higher. So I took some cheap dollar store brushes, drilled a hole in them, wrapped tape around them. So now I'm going to put these on in those holes, and then screw the movement down. And that way I know that these posts that are coming out is dead center, because I think before it was putting a bind on the system. Now, I was still able to use the original screw holes, but instead of it going dead center into the hole with the bracket of the movement, it went at an angle. And now when I pull these out, those posts should be dead center, which that one is, and that one is also, or pretty close to it. So I'm happy with that. Before, like I said, one was up too high. So I tell people all the time, sometimes you have to use the tools that God gave you, which is that thing in between your shoulders called your brain. Now, the screw broke on this one, so I'm going to attempt to use a screw from a music box, a jewelry music box, to see if it will work. I wish they had better access to this system up front. I got the screws loose in the rear, trying to figure out where the best spot for this plate is. But I think I'm going to have to take the movement back out so I can do the same thing for the front. That's why they call them cuckoo clocks. Now I loosen up the screws, drop the bottom plates for this music system, and when I trip it, you can see that it plays nice and smooth. It's actually playing with the correct weight, and if it doesn't play when it's back in the system, in the case, it's got to do with these wheels that attach to this thing. I'm trying to make those holes, the shafts that come through those holes, dead center. I'm looking at my video. I deleted all my pictures for this clock, but you will see that this sits up higher than what I think it should. They didn't put it dead center like I think they should have done. And because I have it dead center when I put this bracket on, lining up with the screw holes, the teeth are not going to match up. They need to go, this piece, the gear needs to go down further. It needs to go about right there, but that's not where the hole is. So if they would have put these directly, why they made such a big hole for, why they did it this way, I have no idea. Common sense is blown out of the water with this clock. So because I don't think they put this movement in the clock correctly in the first place, I'm going to do things my way. And with the right size weight, it turns everything. But with the movement being cockeyed like it is, it doesn't turn everything. And you can see that the holes, you have to understand that the clock is up higher than, I'd have to bring the camera way down here. As you can see, the holes are pretty well lined up with each other. But this bracket, when you line it up with the original holes, if I could do this with one hand, when you line it up with the original holes, the gear that's in this bracket is in the wrong spot. It's up way too high. So I'm going to have to bring it down here for it to be in the right spot. What I did was made slots in this bracket. That way I could slide the bracket up and down. Now this is exactly 420 grams. And it tries to do its thing. And so I told you, as the clock gets age on it, you might have to add a little bit of weight. And that is 465 grams. I think part of it is because this bracket is crooked. And once I straighten it out, it'll fix it, hopefully. If you look straight down on the wheels, this bracket is crooked. The bottom part needs to go to the right just a little bit. Now, she's crooked, and I can't really do a lot about that unless I take her off that platform and redo her. But I've got a weight that's 410 grams. And as you can see, it works. When I started this clock, it took 700 grams of weight to make these people spin. I've got 420 grams of weight on it now. And they're spinning. Once I add the cuckoo bellows, I might have to add more weight, but it's a lot better than what it was. This side over here, I left the holes the same. I just put slots in this bracket to move the bracket down. This side over here, because this was up higher, they had the hole up higher, so I got the hole in the same place as this one over here. And again, I put slots in the bracket to slide the brackets up and down. And as I said, I had to add a little bit more weight when it cuckoos, and I might have to add a little bit more. Currently, I got 480 grams of weight. It's doing a lot better, and it's taken a lot of my time to figure this out. The gears. Let's talk about the gears. This gear here, which is coming off the movement, if it's too far forward, it's going to put bind on the pressure. If it's too far back, it's not going to spin the people. This gear here, it has to be, I don't know how to explain it. It has to be below this center hole here. There's a hole in this gear, if I can get my hands out of the way. There's a hole in this gear and how they made it. This gear has to be below that center gear. If it's too far down, it's not going to spin. If it's too far up, it's not going to spin. And it could be a fraction of an inch off is all it takes to get it. This bottom gear cannot touch this brass plate. And of course, this can't touch the wood, the hole. And the way it was made, this gear was, the inside gear was almost touching the hole, and I didn't like it. This one over here was dead center, but this one over here was up higher, and I didn't like it. So I made it the way it should have been in the first dang place. And again, if you look at this movement, this is a Regula 1 movement. However, Kuner added that bottom platform. This is a Regula 1 movement. Same thing. It says it's take 420 grams of weight. But again, this clock didn't come with weights. And when I first started, it took 700 grams, a little over 700 grams of weight to activate the cuckoo and the people. And so now it takes 500 grams of weight, and I'm happy with that. But it's the exact same movement. As I said in the first video, just Michael Anderson, he has 3 of these Kuner clocks with the people that rotate. All 3 of his have music, and they rotate when the music is playing. They're more valuable clocks because they have music, and to me it's kind of stupid that the people would rotate while cuckoos, but it is what it is. And by the way, this is Carl Kochman's book, this picture I'm showing you, and I have a copy of that book, so I'm not violating anything. Not to get off subject, but I used to be a vendor for Walmart. Anderson Merchandisers provides all the books, music, and movies for Walmart. Walmart's their biggest customer. Per the copyright rules, you are allowed to make a copy of a movie for a backup. Or you're allowed to make a copy of a book for a backup. This is basically my backup. Or music. You're allowed to make a copy of a music, cassette tape, record player, music CD, whatever, for a backup. But there are places like China that get these, and they will make copies and sell them, and that's violating the copyright rules. I need to put the hands on. I selected a set of hands that I bought from Time Savers, but the hole is too small. So you take a tapered file and you stick it in the hole and you twist the file and then you test it. And you keep doing that until the hand fits. So that's what I'm going to keep doing until the hands fit. Same way with the minute hand, because it has a square hole. You take a tapered square file and that's what this is. And if you look straight down on it, it's a square. And you just stick it in, making sure that you are lined up with the hole, and just go back and forth until the hand fits. As you can see, I got the hour hand on. And I was going to do the same thing with this minute hand, but I've already got this minute hand on bound out. The only thing difference between this minute hand and this minute hand is there's a hole right there. So instead of me filing all this stuff out, I'm going to drill a hole in this minute hand. That way it matches the hour hand. I didn't get it quite perfect, but there is a hole in it, and it'll be good enough. With these count wheel clocks, Our hand goes on, and then the square minute hand, and then this round nut that fits onto this great big square threaded shaft. And you only tighten it up just enough to prevent that minute hand from flopping. And then the decorative nut goes on last. Just like so. The weights are temporarily. And I have to adjust the lever that goes into the crutch. But this video is long enough. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something. Please leave me comments. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe not only to my channel, but to all the other channels mentioned. And may God bless each and every one of you.